You guys don't usually get to see my shirts, but I theme them. This one says Life's a Beach. Do you love me yet? Do you? Hey guys, it's Maggie here. Welcome to my channel. So it is unofficially summertime. The pools are open, people are going to the beach, all kinds of fun vacation plans are happening, and no good vacation is complete without some kind of book or audiobook or something like that to read, either while you're on the way there, like on a road trip, or while you're sitting by the pool or the lake or the beach or whatever. So I put together a list of fat positive books full of fat characters, something fat related, for I think just about everyone. There's a little bit of something for everyone in this collection, so I'm so excited to share them with you. If you don't feel like watching this whole video, I put them all in the link box area in categories, so you should be able to find them pretty easily if you don't want to watch this whole thing. But I do have a lot of great things to say, so keep on watching. So I have read or have been reading all of these books. I don't want to recommend any book I haven't actually read, or at least read partially, to you guys. So I'm sure there are tons of books out there that I haven't mentioned. You can leave them in the comments, but I just want to let you guys know that I have read or am reading at all of these, so don't worry. The first category of books I titled Just Starting Out. So this is if you're kind of new to the body positive, fat activism kind of realm, and you need some literature to kind of help you understand or have a more well-rounded understanding of this topic. So the first book I have is called Fat So by Marilyn Wan, and this is kind of one of your introductory books to fat activism, fat positivity. It really breaks it down. This is kind of an introductory book that, you know, anyone can pick up and read. It's very informational but fun, and I think you'll enjoy it if you are just diving into fat activism and fat positivity and fat acceptance. If you're more science-minded or like stats or, I don't know, evidence minded, I guess, there's a few books I'd recommend to you. One is Health at Every Size by Linda Bacon. This book I actually listened to on audiobook while I was driving on my commute, and it's just so interesting, all of the studies that are done, that are hidden, and all of the intricacies that go into studying like weight and health and exercise and stuff. So I think this is definitely a good one to listen to. Similarly, what is this? Secrets from the Eating Lab. I have my cheat sheet here. Secrets from the Eating Lab by Tracy Mann is one that I listened to recently, and I really like it also. It's much more food-based rather than like exercise-based. Health at Every Size kind of combines food and exercise, and Secrets from the Eating Lab is mostly about food, obviously, because it's about eating, and focuses on what Tracy Mann describes as your leanest livable weight. So if that sounds triggering to you, maybe avoid this one. Health at Every Size and Secrets from the Eating Lab are two books that kind of in combination can help you discover and kind of check in with yourself and figure out what's the best way to go about keeping your body and your mind and your emotional self healthy. So the last book in this kind of just starting out category I actually have, because man, I bought this when I was in high school off of Amazon and I really loved it. It is the book The Fat Girl's Guide to Life by Wendy Shanker, and this is another one of those kind of introductory things. It also kind of combines a journal and like personal experiences, so I think this is a good, another good starting out book. This is mostly about weight loss, but it does have other things in it. But yeah, this was a good one. I like that one. And then similar to that one is Things No One Will Tell Fat Girls by Jess Baker. If you don't know who Jess Baker is by now, where have you been? Have you been under a rock? I listened to this one also. I don't own it, but very good. This is one of the most well-rounded books I've read. It addresses intersectionality, it addresses mental illness, it addresses a lot of different things, which I'm sure was very intentional. So I think if you want not so much of a scientific, but a very relatable, personable, and well-rounded book about fat activism and fat positivity and not dieting, then this one is a good one. Moving on, our next category is more action oriented. So this is if you kind of read up on it, you know all about fat activism, fat positivity, and you want to start doing stuff. The first one is Everybody Yoga by Jessamine Stanley. This has been very popular recently because it came out in the last, I think, what, 6 months or maybe a year. This is a book about yoga and doing yoga at any size with any kind of body, and it's very, I've only read part of it, but it's very self-practice oriented, and it really emphasizes learning about yoga, appreciating what yoga came from and how it came about and why it's important, and it focuses on your own self-practice. So I think that's really cool about that book. Another kind of action-oriented book is Body Kindness by Rebecca Stritchfield. Rebecca Stritchfield also has a really good podcast called Body Kindness, which is cool to listen to if you like that kind of stuff. But this is, again, very action-oriented. This is working with yourself, journaling. There's like a workbook, like you write down things, you work through things to be kind to your body. So if you are full of knowledge on all of this stuff on what it is and why it is, and you want to know, okay, well, how do I do that? This book is good. Body Kindness is a very good place to start with that. So next I have more memoirs and first-person nonfiction, which are kind of my favorite books to read, honestly. The first one I have is Big Girl, How I Gave Up Dieting and Got a Life by Kelsey Miller. This book is, again, very diet focused or anti-diet focused, I guess. It talks a lot about intuitive eating if you're into that. It is, you know, very much from this one person's perspective, and I thought it was interesting. Not my favorite book of its kind, but it was a good introduction to intuitive eating if you've been reading a lot of dry subject matter on intuitive eating and you want kind of a, okay, but how does this apply to real life? I think that this book would be really good for that if you're interested in intuitive eating. Another book that I'm reading right now, and I actually have, is My Mad Fat Diary by Ray Earl. And if you know me, you know I love the show My Mad Fat Diary. It's one of my favorite shows, and this is the book that started it all. This is actually the diary of Ray Earl, who wrote this book. What? It says you can watch this on Hulu. I didn't know I could watch this on Hulu. Anyway, this is the diary of Ray Earl. It takes place in 1989. Ray Earl is a fat boy, mad 17-year-old girl living in Stamford, Lincolnshire, with her mum and their deaf white cat in a council house with a mint green bathroom and a refrigerator Ray can't keep away from. I'm only halfway through reading this. It's such an easy read. I love reading diary entries. I love it. So this is really good, a really great thing to take on the beach if you want to spend a lot of time out there, and time passes so quickly when you read that. This book is triggering. If you've seen the series, you know that there is a lot of mention of self-harm and fat hate. So if you think maybe you can't handle that, maybe stay away from this one, but knowing the show, what the show is like in mind, I kind of have an idea of what I'm getting into, but it's so captivating and I love it. So the last category I have is fiction / young adult fiction. This category, I mean, I don't as much love reading these books anymore, but I totally did at some point, and some of these I probably would read again. The first one is Eleanor and Park, written by Rainbow Rowell. And I really like this book because it's about this girl who is fat. She's kind of just tall, and she has like crazy wild red hair. And this book actually flips between her perspective and the perspective of her kind of friend, love interest, Park. And it's just a cute little high school romance, but with like serious stuff mixed in, obviously. So that's a good one. And then the next one I have is Gabby, A Girl in Pieces, which is a book I read, God, I don't know, 3 years ago, so I don't remember it in detail that much, but it's by Isabel Quintero. It's about this Mexican-American girl in high school, and it's made up, again, of diary entries, but these are fiction. But she also writes poetry, and she's kind of learning about, just going through like your last year in high school. There's pregnancy, there's sexuality, there's all this kind of stuff going on. So it's very interesting, a very good book. I can't remember any of it, but I remember liking it. Another book that I do like is Will Grayson by John Green. I know the internet has mixed opinions about John Green. I don't love John Green as a person. I don't revile him as some do, but Will Grayson is my favorite John Green book, and it features a fat gay man character named Tiny, who is so himself and ends up with a love interest at the end. And this book isn't about him. He's neither of the perspectives in this book, but he is a big part of the book. So I mean, if you like that kind of stuff, I would read it. The last book I have, I really loved. It's a graphic novel. It's called This One Summer, and it's by Jillian and Mariko Tamaki. And it is about these two friends who really only see each other when they're both visiting their like lake houses in the summer. And the girl whose perspective it's from is fat and kind of hinted at that she's like a dyke, like a little baby dyke, and her friend is very thin, and they have fun, so much fun one summer, and then the next summer they come back and her friend is very like boy oriented and like boy crazy, and it's kind of about her like understanding that and trying working through that. But the art is beautiful. It's all done in like blues, like it's blues. It's so nostalgic for summer, and it's a fun, beautiful book to read. The one book I cannot recommend to you is Huge. You know I love this show. This is one of my favorite shows. This book is garbage. This is a garbage book. I don't know how any show as good as Huge could come out of this book. This book describes people who are fat with like disgusting, shaming terms, and is constantly talking about how they're fat. It drops a million brand names when it doesn't need to, and it's just plain awful. So do not waste your time reading this. So guys, I hope you like this video. This was a long one, but I had a lot of books to get through, and there are tons more books out there. So please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Leave a comment below if you liked any of these, or if I'm missing one of your favorite fat positive or fat character books. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already for more content like this. You can follow me on my social media channels, which are on the screen, and I will see you next time. Bye!